This is where Call of Duty World War II was made. The entire game was shot in this room right behind us. As you can see, there's already some rigging left up from their last shoot. I'm not quite sure what it is. I'm going to guess it's like some sort of military convoy, but who knows? It could be a circus performance. I'm not sure. We might find that out later on the show. I'm sure a lot of you tuned in with us on April 26th for the live announcement in London where they released the trailer for Call of Duty World War II. There's been some awesome fan excitement since then. There have also been a lot of questions, a lot of comments, some of which we are going to answer today. So people, we are live, so we are taking your questions now. If you aren't already, you have to go to the Call of Duty, the official Call of Duty Facebook page and ask your questions in the comments there. We're going to answer a lot of them live on the show. I actually already have one. This is from Alan, and he asks, what's the intent behind the series? Behind this series? It's a great question. Look, guys, it's 2017. Social media is what it's all about. Companies listen to you now, and that's what this series is for. We want to hear all of your questions and all of your comments about the game, and we want to give you as much information as we possibly can until the release of the game. So please don't be afraid. Ask us your questions. We're going to get to them. But right now, we have an awesome interview with one of the stars of the game, Josh Duhamel. He plays Sergeant Pearson, and he's going to tell us about his experience making Call of Duty World War II.
I play Sergeant William Pearson, who is a hard-edged, no-nonsense sergeant. He doesn't have time to screw around. It's literally life or death to him. He's seen a lot of people die, and what's beautiful about this character is that, you know, as hard as he is, and as much as he is about the mission, it really is about keeping his guys safe. The writing in this game rivals any movie script I've ever read. How in-depth the story is, how complex the characters are. And I think that, you know, for that reason, this game is more than just a video game in a lot of ways, because it's going to expose World War II and what these young men went through to a whole new generation. I've got personal connections to this. My grandfather, both my grandfathers, were World War II veterans. My dad's father was in the Army. My mother's father, who just passed away last year at 95, was a Marine in Guadalcanal. It was something they didn't like to talk about much. They just, you know, they're very quiet. I mean, the only person that was ever able to get anything out of them was my stepdad, who was a World War II junkie. He loved the history of World War II, and he could talk to him in depth about what it was like. And that was the only time that we ever heard him talk about it. So he saw some pretty gnarly stuff. And it's amazing to think that these guys who were 19, 20, 21 years old, you know, from a farm in the middle of nowhere in North Dakota, they were true heroes. My grandpa, both my grandpas were amazing, you know, to be able to function after seeing some of the stuff they saw. I think that people are going to be moved by this game. They're going to be, you know, it's an assault to the senses in a lot of ways. You're going to feel what it was like to have been one of these guys and what they actually were going through. And that's you know, that's pretty cool. You know, video games have come a long way.
Welcome back, everyone. Like I said, we are live, so please, please, please send us your questions right now. And with me right now is one of the other actors from the game, Jeffrey Pierce. Hi.
Hi.
Welcome. You guys, send us questions for Jeffrey about what it's like acting in a video game, which is incredible. Okay, Jeff, tell us about your character in this game.
I play First Lieutenant Joseph Turner. He is in charge of the platoon in the 1st Infantry Division, the Big Red One, the Bloody First.
Man.
And I'm in charge of shepherding these young men through the war to try to get them home safely.
Right. Now, this actually isn't your first rodeo with Call of Duty games, correct?
That's right.
How many others have you been in? Like at least 16 or 17?
No. not that many. I did a lot of battle chatter for Modern Warfare.
Battle chatter. What exactly is that?
That's sitting
I can guess what it is.
You sit in a booth for about 4 hours and yell commands that is going to scream into the player's ear.
Right.
And then I played Merrick in Ghosts, and then I did a lot of bits and pieces for Infinite Warfare.
Nice. So what stood out about this Call of Duty game in particular for you?
I think that what we're trying to do here is a step above what has been done in the past. The technology has reached a point where you can really achieve cinematic scope, and you can get the detail of performance in ways that you never could in the past. I think this is one of the first games that will be solely released for the new platform of games and really use those engines at a level that they haven't been used on yet. And when you can do that, you can tell story in a much more effective way. You can get emotion, you can get connection between the player and the characters in ways that haven't been possible in the past. It's really exciting to do that.
Nice. Yeah, so we have a couple questions from people who are watching live right now. Michael would like to know, what's it been like acting in a video game? Is it much different from acting in regular media? It's
different from acting in TV and film.
Yeah.
In that you're in a situation where you're not shooting close-ups, you're not shooting coverage, you're not spending 4 hours on a scene.
Right.
You come into a scene with 6 guys in it, everyone has to be on their game because this entire arena is surrounded by cameras. So your performance is being captured the entire time.
It's almost like performing in the round.
Yeah, and performing in theater in general.
Yeah.
You have to be there and be present and be there for the other actors on the stage every time out.
Right.
Which makes it shorter days and very satisfying work.
Nice. Okay, we have another question from Matthew Gomez, who asks, how much fun have you had with researching the history behind World War II for the role?
I mentioned earlier that I've spent from the time I was 5 years old, I wanted to do a World War II
really?
movie or TV show or something.
Yeah, it's kind of like every little boy's dream, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
To do some sort of reenactment.
Well, you get the sort of the weight of that story, and you see how powerful it is, and you want to be a part of something that epic. And so I've always paid as much attention as possible to history, and in particular surrounding that war. To sort of have the chance to embody it has been really, really special.
Nice. All right, we have another one from Alex who asks, what's it like working with Sledgehammer Games?
Sledgehammer.
The studio that worked with Activision to create this game, yeah.
These guys are amazing. On a steady basis, we work with, I think you're going to meet Brett and Chris Stone shortly. And they are the guys who are shepherding us, directing us through the process here. And they are detail-oriented. They want to get it right, and they want it to be excellent. And that sort of bar is extraordinary. And they're, it's committed to the degree that we'll go back a month later and get it right if we didn't get it right the first time.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
You guys get reshoots.
Yeah, when we need them, which is rare.
That's like, can you actually talk a little bit about, because I know that this game's all about brotherhood and the camaraderie between the guys in the units, but I feel like a lot of the actors on set actually had that in real life.
We got really lucky. We walked in the first day, and it felt like we'd known each other for 10 years. We've been working for a year and a half together, and this sort of bond that you get there is nothing like combat. There are no parallels. But in terms of being able to come together as a group of actors and commit to doing this at as high a level as we possibly could, we bonded over that and really leaned on each other to make sure we were getting it right. And I found every single one of them inspiring to work with in different ways. It's really been special.
Nice. All right, we have another question from our live audience right now. Shanti Holmes asks, how does it make you feel while playing the game to hear your own voice giving those orders? Oh, I guess not this game in particular, but in your previous Call of Duties.
In the previous...
Do you play them?
Yes, I do play.
You do?
We watched the trailer, the sort of first iteration of the trailer probably 4 months ago, and it finished, and I said, my nephews are going to think I'm the coolest uncle in the entire world.
You get a lot of cred.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, and I don't see them as much as I would like to. So in terms of connecting with them by being that voice on the multiplayer or the player in the game, it's great.
Do you have a moment of going like, I sound really badass?
I'm proud of the work I've done on my voice. It has paid off.
Nice. All right, we have one more question from our live audience. Stephen Moskos asks, did the big balls on that uniform get in the way sometimes?
Big balls on whose uniform?
I don't know, maybe the mocap? Like the things that look like ping pong balls?
I think that's what he means. I would imagine.
That ever get in the way?
No, once you're in the once the thing is, everybody on the stage is wearing that.
Yeah.
So it's difficult to feel ridiculous.
So you either all feel ridiculous, or no one feels
and
ridiculous.
Then the bar is set, and you don't feel self-conscious.
Is there ever a moment where you're shooting like a really intense emotional scene and you just have to like kind of look at the person and be like, why are you dressed like this?
There have been moments of that, but really the thing is we work with minimal props. We have weighted ABS resin firearms, but everything else, for the most part, you're using your imagination for. So when you're forced to use your imagination that way, you're able to look past the sort of bulky nature of the costumes, the cameras on the helmets, and all that good stuff.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Jeff. We are now going to hear from another one of your castmates, Brett Zimmerman. He plays PFC Red Daniels of the Fighting First Infantry. Thank you.
My pleasure.
I play Daniels, and he is a charismatic kind of guy. He has a lot of family value, wants to make them proud, but he also carries that sense of fear stepping into the war. This game is all about the respect towards those troops. The generations that had to experience this, it's one of the most epic wars of all time. There's a lot of, I think, our generation that isn't aware of that. I will say this, capturing emotional intensity on a PCAP stage is very different, especially when you have the head cam on. Because if I have to walk up and approach you in a scene, deliver emotional range, I have to walk up and be able to give you all that feeling, but you also have these head cams on. You're imagining the world around you. If we're on water, then we have to picture those waves crashing, splashing us in the face. If we're hitting the beach, running up and diving into a bunker and that sand coming up in our face. There's so much imagination to what we have to deliver ourselves, but they give us a nice frame of mind within reference to the stage and what we can work with. Lucky for us, it was so well written in the cast, we fell into this brotherhood and bond together to where when we're in scenes, it becomes pretty real, we can kind of visually see the stages that are built out, the levels, bring some real perspective on the scene that we're in. I knew this was going to be a great game since day one, truly. It's a story that's bigger than all of us. It's a story that's an epic, retelling of one of the most, I don't want to say gritty wars of all time, but certainly one of the worst, to remember. But it's important that we do remember that and respect that war. My first day here, working with the creative team, they showed me just a teasing bit of footage, and I asked them when they were done playing that 2-minute snippet, cut the lights off and let me watch another 2 hours, because to me it was a blockbuster cinematic feature. If you could see this game unfold all in one showing, it would captivate anyone. It would grab you and make you want to watch more and make you understand what was endured through this time.
We are back, we are live, and we want your questions. Right now, I want your questions about what to do when you are doing performance capture, because we are talking to Evan Button right now.
Hi, Allison.
This is your job.
Yes, this is my job. I feel very fortunate. Yeah.
I know. Tell us about what you do.
So I'm the producer here. Normally, I'm running around like a chicken with his head cut off. But my job primarily is to coordinate with our development teams and to make sure that our talented work of mocap technicians have everything they need to get the job done.
That's what's happening right here, right now with these
yes,
guys, huh?
They're actually working on some data from Sledgehammer games, actually.
Oh, really? This is Call of Duty World War II. That's being worked on behind us.
Yes.
Spoiler alert, you guys. It's literally being made. So what's happening right here?
So actually, Andre is retargeting the performance from when you shoot the performance, it comes out in the software package that we use to capture the data. And then what happens is Andre actually takes that data and then puts it on the Sledgehammer Games rig and then delivers it to the studio so that they can do their magic.
Got it. So this was actually an actor at some point, and he's now getting like guns on it and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Oh, man, look at all of this. All right, so can you tell us about the actual stage? Like, what's the tech that's going on back
So
here?
what makes it a performance capture stage is, first of all, we have sound abatement, right? So we have an NC21 sound rating, which is the same you would get on a movie set.
Wow.
We also have ample lighting, and that lighting enables us to capture HMC footage. Without that, you can't capture the face. And then the last thing we have is just the camera system to capture the body. So
Nice.
that's the full performance capture.
Nice. Okay, so we have a couple questions. We have a lot of questions for you, actually. Hope you're ready for this.
Go easy.
From our live audience, Reginald asks, is all the animation in Call of Duty made by motion capture animation?
Not all of it.
Okay.
The majority of it is. What we do is we give Sledgehammer Games, we give them a good starting point, a good foundation. So we're not replacing artists, we're not replacing animators. What we're doing is
everyone still has their job.
Yes, we're giving them a great jump-off point so that they can actually use their artistic ability to bring those characters to life in the game.
Nice. Okay, we have another. James asks, how many actors can you have on the stage at the same time? That's a good question, because everyone, you have to collect data from so many points.
Yes, yeah. So we've captured up to 12, and
wow.
It's pretty difficult on the back end, you know, but it's definitely possible.
Does the computer read it, and you have to sometimes be like, wait, is that someone's elbow or someone else's knee? Like,
yeah, it comes out, until it's all cleaned up and processed, it looks like a bunch of spaghetti.
Yeah. How about the face cams? That you can do 12 of those as well?
For Sledgehammer's game, we've only captured, I believe, 6 at a time, but we've outfitted 8 of the actors with them. So normally their scenes are about 6.
Nice. Okay. William Honeycutt, that's an amazing last name. He asks, what's the hardest thing about motion capturing?
Hardest thing about motion capture is you have to be able to pivot fast, right? I mean, you have so many technical pieces that are moving at the same time, and any of those can fail at any time. So, you know, if you're in the middle of a shoot, you can't stop. You got to keep going. So this team is pretty good at pivoting really fast and getting those systems back online so we can continue the capture.
Man.
But it's the unexpected issues that arrive are probably the most challenging.
It feels like your jobs are actually a video game themselves.
Essentially, yeah. And I wouldn't want to go home and play it, you know.
No. Here, Tatiane, I hope I'm saying your name right, asks, what was your favorite part of the project?
My favorite part of the project is actually watching this cast gel and then perform on the stage. That's probably the most rewarding thing, is actually seeing the scenes come together and see the performance happen.
Yeah.
You know, that's probably the most enjoyable part of the job.
Sounds like you guys kind of hit the jackpot with this cast.
Yes, yeah, they're a really good cast.
That's awesome. Okay, Gabriel asks, how long did it take to do all the motion capture for World War II? Well,
we've been shooting since 2015, actually. I think that was our
like
first.
So long ago.
I think it was our first shoot was 2015. So it's been a long process.
Which that's kind of insane, because even the biggest blockbuster movies maybe actually are only shooting for like 8 or 9 months.
Right.
You know.
Right. So
there's a lot of post, but shooting is done pretty quickly.
Right. Yeah. But there's also other things that have to come online with the game, right? And fortunately, they get a few years to build their game, but there's all types of mechanics that have to come online, and those take time.
Yeah. Okay, great. Christopher asks, how many takes do you have to get the scene just right?
As many as it takes.
Huh.
You know, if there's times that I've witnessed where, you know, Sledgehammer Games wants the scene to do another take, and there's times where the actors are like, I could pull a better performance out of that.
Right.
So it's however long it takes.
Does doing another take entail because like data hadn't been picked up? Or, I mean, in an actor's case, it's like, wait a minute, I have something more to give. But for you guys, is it like, no, we missed a certain angle, or we want to grab something else?
For us, we're fine, right?
Yeah.
Because we have 62 cameras out there on the truss.
Anything.
We're not missing anything. We're capturing everything.
Yeah. How many cameras?
There's 62 cameras on the truss out there.
62 cameras.
Yeah. And it's a 60-foot by 30-foot volume.
No one's getting away with anything out there.
No.
That's awesome. All right, I have another from the audience. Tyler Cole asks, do you turn the temperature way down to shoot the winter scenes? It's already really cold in here.
It's already cold in here. You know, a lot of these scenes and a lot of these moves that these actors are doing, sometimes they're pretty intensive. And so we can't have it hot in here at all.
Right.
Also, some of the technology is pretty finicky. So we try to keep it so that nothing overheats. We try to keep it at a nice, cool, you know.
So the more accurate question would have been, do you turn the temperature up for the summer scenes?
For the summer scenes, no.
Which is no, because then the tech doesn't work. Awesome. Well, Evan, thank you so much. I think now we are going to hear from one of your coworkers, Chris Stone. Yes?
Awesome. Yeah.
Sweet. Everyone, this is Chris Stone, who is the animation director of Call of Duty World War II.
This is going to be my 24th game that I am shipping over my career, my 3rd Call of Duty franchise game. For World War II, I've been shooting for 3 years, coming up on 3 years. So this game is different in a variety of ways. Technology-wise, we're at an amazing place where we're going to get this tremendous emotional performance that's going to come through from the talent into their digital likeness. You know, on top of that, we're using a lot of really great digital technology now where we can load in the game world and have them actually perform on stage within this digital world. They can see where they're moving in the scene. They can see if they're climbing into a Jeep or they're climbing up onto a tank, and what they're doing, you know, they're actually seeing that performance on the monitors there while we're shooting it. So believe it or not, this is the back of a big military truck where they're going to get loaded in, and we'd be able to see on that monitor exactly what that would look like in the game. We're kind of doing our cinematography right here live on the stage while we're shooting, which is amazing as a director to be able to just move your talent around and move your camera around and be able to see virtually what that's going to look like in the game exactly. So in performance capture here on this stage, we're shooting 3 very specific types of data at once, and all 3 of these pieces of data are perfectly in sync. So we have the audio capture, which is going to be all the line delivery. We have the facial capture, which is going to be everything that happens on the character's face during the course of that shot. And then on top of that, we're getting the actual physical body performance, right? So it's them moving around in the volume, or them climbing up into a truck, or getting out of a tank, or whatever that is. It's going to be getting that body performance as well. And so when I leave the stage, I leave with those 3 pieces of data for every single shot, for every single character. And all 3 of those pieces get assembled into one beautiful scene. On Call of Duty World War II, we're doing a few things differently than we've done before. For one, we have more cameras than we've shot with before, so we're getting a much higher resolution of data and all the capture that we're getting with all the characters, which means that it's going to be even more true to life. On top of that, the facial capture that we're getting for all of our talent is now using a stereoscopic camera system. So now we've adjusted our camera and we've added a secondary camera. So now on top of seeing all this expression from the front, I'm also getting depth information. A good example is if I furrow my brow or I grimace like that, my cheeks swell, right? You're getting a depth change in my face. And so now with the secondary stereoscopic camera, I'm able to see that sort of information, and that's able to really get the emotion out of these characters that, in the past that we just couldn't have done. In part, the camera technology has just gotten a lot better. They've gotten smaller. And so we've been able to adjust those positions and add that additional information to really get great performances out of the talent here in Call of Duty World War II.
Hey gang, we're back. We are live and we are nearing the end of our show. So if you haven't already, please get us your questions because we want to answer as many as we can in the time we have left. And this is really exciting. Get us your questions about the actual story of the game because right now we are talking to Brett Robbins at Sledgehammer Games, who's so busy he couldn't even join us in studio. We have him Skyping in from Foster City. How's it going out there, Brett?
Hey, it's going good. How you doing?
Good. I'm good. I'm good. This has been exciting so far. So what can you tell us about Sledgehammer Games?
Well, we're working hard. All of us are working around the clock to get this game done. I personally, I'm the creative director on the campaign, so I am directing the game design and a lot of the narrative and trying to tell a great story and make a really fun game.
Nice. How's your experience been different in developing this game than in previous games Sledgehammer has done?
I think the big difference is trying to be very authentic and do a ton of research. World War II was such a huge, amazing conflict that you don't want to get it wrong. You want to have all the little details right. So yeah, just working really hard with the research team and the designers and the story guys to do it justice.
Nice. Okay, so last month at the Reveal Livestream event, you actually mentioned that there would be women characters in this game. Now, lots of fans have been asking whether or not that is historically accurate. What do you think about that?
It is historically accurate. We knew that we'd have a challenge a little bit with diversity coming into this, but after doing a lot of research on, like the French Resistance, they had a lot of female fighters. So we have a French Resistance character, Rousseau, who leads one of the Paris resistance groups, and you actually get to play as her a little bit as well. But we have female characters and soldiers and multiplayer and in zombies and throughout the game.
Oh, that's awesome. As a member of the Lady Folk, I appreciate that. Thank you. So now we're gonna go to our live audience questions. Let's see. Ian Cooper Smith asks, oh, actually he just states, but maybe you can comment on this. I hope they go to the Battle of the Bulge. It's one of the most infamous battles the 1st Division fought. Are we going to see a bit of that?
I'm not sure I'm supposed to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. Yes, we heard the Battle of the Bulge.
You guys, we got an exclusive here. Making Call of Duty is now a huge hit. Awesome. Thank you for that. That's exciting, too. That
it was a huge conflict. It's a huge battle, and we had to include it.
You must have felt a lot of responsibility, too, taking on one of the biggest battles in like modern human history.
Absolutely. And again, that comes back to the research, trying to get it right. You know, our story interweaves between a lot of historical moments like that. We also have the battle, you know, the invasion of Normandy is one of the huge moments in the game. And, you know, you just have to make sure you get all those little details right to do it the right way.
Nice. Okay, Brandon Harris has a question for you. He asks, did you ask previous veterans for advice to be sure that the experience was authentic?
Yeah, we had the good fortune of working with our military historian who works closely with veterans, and so through him we were able to get a lot of you know, a lot of insight into their experience and their personal stories. We used some of that in the game and in telling our own story. We felt it was important to honor that. So yeah, it was really important to us, and also just reading as much as we could, interviews, and watching as many films as we could to get that right.
Nice. Well, this question is sort of along the same lines. Ted Da Silva asks, do you feel you guys captured the spirit of a true World War II game?
I hope so. We have definitely tried to do that. We focus a lot on mood and atmosphere. You know, one of the things that's maybe a little different about this game is this isn't about a super soldier. This isn't about a tier 1 operator. These are 19, 20-year-old guys who are going into combat for the first time. So a lot of our story, and even the way we have soldiers move and act in the game, you know, you want to be authentic to that. So I think it is, yeah, I think we did capture a World War II game.
This could be relevant, but John Ball asks, what's the hardest part about making this game?
I think it's walking that line between authenticity and making a big cinematic blockbuster, which is, of course, what Call of Duty is. So, you know, we had to kind of not go too far in either direction. You don't want to get, you know, lost in the weeds of little details. You don't want to do something that's too over the top and throws people out of the experience. So I think it's really that push and pull of trying to create something very believable, but also very exciting.
Okay, we have a couple questions about actual gameplay. Neil Patel asks, will we be able to play as the Axis Force in the story mode?
I can't really talk about that directly. But
we can't have too many exclusives on this show.
That's right, that's right. So let's leave that one a mystery.
All right, all right. Hopefully we'll find out later on in this series. Corey Cooper asks, will the campaign have gore?
Yeah, I mean, we do have gore in it. It's a mature-rated game. We try not to be gratuitous with it or anything, but it's, you know, it's important that you show what war was really like. Yeah,
World War II was gory, so.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, Christian Colquitt asks, will there be health regeneration?
No comment yet.
Oh, because you can or you haven't decided yet?
Yeah, we should save that one.
Awesome. All right, I've got one more for you. Bruce Halbert asks, what are you and your team most proud of with this game?
I think for me, it was really in the game design and the story. Working with the actors was phenomenal. I was, you know, really honored to work with these guys. They took it very, very seriously. They did an amazing job. So I'm very proud of the story. But I think just the overall experience of going through the campaign, I'm really hoping people enjoy it. I'm hoping maybe they learn a little something about what that conflict was like, which would be great. But I want them to walk away with a great experience, having met these amazing characters and having a blast too. So yeah, I'm just very proud of the whole thing.
Wonderful. Well, that sounds like some perfect final thoughts for our fans. Thank you so much, Brett. Hopefully we'll be seeing you more in this series. You guys, That is it. We did it. The first show of Making Call of Duty. Thank you so much for tuning in. Our next episode is going to come out on E3, everyone's favorite convention. I will be there, and there we are going to talk more about multiplayer mode. So what you can expect is you're going to hear from our multiplayer designers, you're going to hear about the multiplayer innovations in the game, and we're also going to talk a little bit about the social features as well. But you guys, speaking of being social, what do you want to hear and see about at E3? Send Call of Duty on the Facebook page your comments, your questions, whatever you want to send them. We are tailoring this show to you, so please tell us what you want to see. And just keep watching the Call of Duty Facebook page for more intel. I'm Allison Hayslip, and thank you for watching Making Call of Duty.